the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 192 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, April 27th, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going?
Good, man. I'm feeling refreshed, energized after a fantastic Talladega weekend.
I mean, you can't ask for more, can you?
Yeah, I mean, if the Xfinity race would have finished, that would have been a little bit better. But
or wouldn't have rained out right before it was going to get good. I mean, not that it was bad, because it was good, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, our buddy Todd was there, so, we can be expected that it was going to rain at some point. At least it took out the Xfinity race, not the Cup race.
Is he, I can't remember, is he working Kansas this weekend?
I don't know. We haven't seen anything about that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, every time there's an important race, he's there.
Yeah, if he's working it, it'll be raining. So
yeah, at some point.
I heard the forecast is good for this weekend, so I'm sure he must be off.
Should be fine.
He must be off.
We're getting into the good part of the season now, so the weather hopefully will start turning here in May. But
you would think so. You would think
Gosh,
so. Although here in Michigan, where we're at, it snowed yesterday, and today it was almost 80.
Yeah, it was fantastic today.
And it's freaking cold again right now. I was out. The boys had soccer practice, and when I left for soccer practice, it was short weather. When I came back, it was hoodie and pants weather, and I was not prepared.
Welcome to Michigan. That's what you get every time.
But
it never ceases to amaze me.
We might get thunderstorms tonight, though, so that's good. I like that.
That's your that's your favorite. Yes,
I'm down for the thunderstorms. All right.
I wonder if the puppy likes the thunderstorms.
Yeah, we haven't dealt with thunderstorms yet with the puppy. That's a good question.
Well.
He's not scared of too much, so I think he'll be okay. But we'll see.
We'll see.
God, I didn't even think about that.
Huh. Yeah. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that would really ruin thunderstorms for me.
Yeah, it would, at least for the foreseeable future.
Right. So we had the Geico 500 this weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, my favorite track on the circuit for sure. I'm just gonna go out and say it, James. It is my favorite track on the circuit. There is no track better than Dega. And
yeah, you look forward to it.
I think I'm back to wanting to go. For a long time, I didn't want to go because it's usually hot. Of course, not for this race, and it's so big. Like going to Daytona kind of ruined it for me because it's tough to see all of Daytona. I'm a guy that likes to see the whole track, and so it's kind of really turned me off on Talladega. But I'm leaning back toward wanting to be there again.
Yeah, I'd like to go to one someday. It's on my list of places that I would love to go. I want to go to a Bristol race. I want to go to Dega. I want to go to Martinsville. If I went to those tracks, and none other, I think I would be good. Maybe a Darlington at some point, but that's I have a very short list of I have to go here at some point. And those are all. Talladega is probably at the top.
See, my list of tracks that I want to go to are, the way you can define them is, are the Cup cars racing there?
Right.
And that's, yes, all of them. But yeah, Talladega is certainly on the list for me. I want to go. I kind of got cheated at Daytona when I went to the 500 because they were doing the tandem racing. So I didn't really get to see, there was some pack racing, and we got to see pack racing in the truck race on Friday night. But I didn't really get to see the real true pack racing like what we got now. So
yeah,
and who knows? Who knows how much longer we're gonna get to see it? Some of the drivers don't like it.
When I went to the Daytona 500, it was the first Gen 6 race, the current generation car, and they didn't have the aero package down quite that well, and so I also feel a little bit but it was still a great race. I thought it was a great race, but
that's it. Next year we got to go back, James.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yep.
Next generation of the car, we just got to go.
Yep, go back.
Screw it.
Be media, sit in the press box, and watch Daytona 500.
That's right. I'm in. Let's go. I'll go back there.
Yeah, cool. I'll let you know. You just pay for my plane ticket, and I'll be there, man.
Okay, great.
Just tell Aaron. Sorry, Aaron, you're not going. Eric's going, and I'm buying.
And she's got the two babies.
Yeah.
She's holding on to at the same time, looking at me with sad eyes. I can just see how that would go over. That'd be great.
Right?
Yeah.
So big moment for Brad Keselowski this weekend. He ties Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. for wins at Talladega. 6, right?
6. Yep.
Man. And
second all time.
Who
to
picked Brad Keselowski to win this weekend, James?
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
You picked
it
him.
didn't do me any good because you still beat me this week.
I did. Yeah.
Freaking
You forget about those
ridiculous.
stage points.
Yeah. Brad didn't
Yeah.
really do the stage points very well.
He got the W though. That's all mattered. He led the lap that mattered the most.
Yeah, it was the only lap he led.
Well, if I would have picked first, I think I said this last week. Like I always pick Brad at Dega.
Yeah.
And I guess fortunately, I don't know. You had the first pick last week, so
Right.
gosh darn it.
It's Talladega, so you look down the laps led. I mean, there's 20 drivers that led. Well, not actually 20 drivers. Let's see how many drivers. There were 35 lead changes among 17 drivers, so pretty close to 20.
Yeah.
And this one, nobody really dominated. I guess if you wanted to call somebody dominating, it would have been Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, he was doing some Hamlin. He was doing some Hamlin stuff there for a while, but obviously got in a little bit of a scrap. So
yeah,
that kind of ruined the rest of his day.
Matt DiBenedetto led 28 laps on the day. Matt looked good. I thought this
He
was
looked
his
really
race,
good.
man. I thought it was happening. And we can get to it now, James, or we can wait a minute. But I have in the notes that you're pissed at Matt.
Well, I'm not so much like mad. I just don't want to hear any more crying about not winning any races. Honestly.
So you think he made the wrong move?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Keep Brad Keselowski in your rearview mirror. You're
Yeah.
going to be just fine. I don't know. Like, I understand that Ryan had the run at the top,
Right.
and you go to the run, but last lap you've got Brad on your. I mean, do
you think Brad would have stuck with him? Honestly,
no, but at least listen. Being the leader on the last lap's the worst place.
Yeah,
obviously we know that. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I don't know. I mean, give yourself a chance into the trial. We'll stay low. And I mean, Ryan, the Heinlein's going to eventually stall out on the top. But
here's the problem that I have with giving yourself a chance to the tri-oval, though, James, is how many races end before the tri-oval?
Well, that's true.
This one almost ended before the tri-oval. We had 2 wrecks on the way to the checkered flag. Yeah,
but maybe you get the caution as long as you're out front.
That's
you get
true.
The caution.
That's true.
I don't know. I just feel like he took himself out of the race.
I don't think you can criticize somebody for a move they make on that last lap. I was listening to, was it Moody today, I think?
Well, Bubba did the same thing a couple laps earlier. He made a really dumb move off the bottom trying to get to the top side. I was just like, I saw it happening. I'm like, Bubba, nobody's going there.
Right.
And sure enough, he dropped like a rock in an ocean. So I
think it was Dave Moody that said today that there were so many moves that were made in those last 2 laps that any one of those moves, slightly different, changes the complete outcome of this race. It's just amazing how the chess pieces fall.
Yeah.
And, and then
it's not even like chess pieces. It's like dropping marbles on the floor and watching where they roll. I mean, honestly, that's really what it is.
Yeah, you're right. It's complete crapshoot, especially with a green-white checker coming to the finish. I mean,
here's the thing though, like,
but hold on before you get into this.
Go ahead.
It is a crapshoot, but look who won. The guy who's done it 5 other times.
That's what I was just going to say. Yes, that's exactly it.
There's definitely skill to it.
Well, and that's the thing that disappoints me with Matt. Like, he is always finding his way up there.
Yeah.
He's good on these racetracks. That's not the fault. I think the fault is with some of his late race decisions. This has happened. This is not the first time he's made maybe bonehead moves too strong. I don't know if he bonehead did. His spotter told him to go high.
I don't think it was a bonehead move. I think it was just a wrong move.
The wrong move, yeah. I mean, the spotter told him to go high, and I don't know. I feel like, if him and Brad were switched in that spot, I don't think Brad would have went there. I think Brad would have stayed. But who knows? You never know. I mean, that's Talladega racing right there. It's ticky tack. You damned if you do, damned if you don't. You make a move, and you got to live with it. And sometimes you're Denny Hamlin, and you win 3 Daytona 500s. Making the right move, and Brad Keselowski, as great as he is here, Eric, he hadn't won at Dega since 2017.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean,
the door opened up for him.
Brad's won 6 races here, but how many races has he lost here?
A lot. Yeah. It's either. Yeah, I mean, he's the one who's been fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time, and on Sunday it happened for him again. Like DiBenedetto opened it up for him. And it was his from that point on. So
right,
it's as great as he is, and the same thing with Hamlin and Joey too. I mean, I know Joey we'll get into Joey probably in a little bit, but those guys always find themselves more times than not, they find themselves in the right spots at these tracks, and they're either going to win the race or they're going to be right there. It's like, they're never gonna pull a Bubba Wallace, and jump the line and drop from 10th to 23rd. They're never in that position. They're always top 5 and hunting the lead. And when that happens, when you're always hunting the lead, we race 4 of these tracks a year. You're going to find your way, a handful of times.
Right.
So.
Sorry, don't mind my audio here. No, it's all good. It's all good. Checking cameras, and forgot the audio was going to come on. One of my 8-year-olds is watching the dog right now in the other room, so I'm making sure that that all hell hasn't broken loose yet. So you mentioned guys making in the right place at the right time. How about guys in the wrong place at the wrong time or right time? Yeah. Joey Logano ends up in quite a wreck.
A kerfuffle.
Yeah, and went for a heck of a ride.
I mean, that's that treacherous, turn 3 at Talladega seems to be the blowover zone.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen cars go over? I mean, gosh, Eric, I can remember off the top of my head, Brendan Gaughan, Kurt Busch, Sadler, Newman. Those are all guys who have flipped going into that zone.
Yep. Kyle Busch has flipped there. Dale Jr.'s flipped there. Matt Kenseth flipped there.
I guess Tony Stewart kind of when he was blocking going through there, but that was more into the turn. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys who have flipped going into that spot. I know people were kind of having fun with it. Joey had his iRacing crash, and it was the same exact thing, which is crazy. But yeah, this was pretty serious, and I was kind of ripping Joey a little bit for crying about safety, and then I had to back off because he was right. He's right.
Yeah.
I can't really criticize
that
him.
Was me. I'm
It's
like, Joey's life. Being dramatic. He's comparing his wreck to Newman's crash and blah blah blah, but then he showed the pictures from inside of his car, and that roof was down pretty low. And to think about the fact he didn't get hit. I mean, he landed on the roof and nobody. Bubba got him. Yeah, but Bubba didn't get the roof of the car. If somebody would have hit him like Corey LaJoie hit Ryan Newman, we're talking a whole different story.
Driver's side window. Yeah, driver's side window. And I was listening to Jeff Burton talk to Nate Ryan on the NASCAR and NBC podcast, and he just said, he's like, I don't know if there's anything we can do right now unless we just cut the splitter off. We've got so many points in these cars now, Eric, where if they get turned the wrong way, we've got air evacuation doors under the hood. We've got the ginormous roof flaps. He just said when that car went backwards, I mean, the spoiler just caught it and went over. Other than cutting the spoilers off these cars, what are you supposed to do anymore?
Here's the thing. When you fine tune a machine or an object to cut through the air as efficiently as possible when going in one direction, and then you change its direction, it's going to do the opposite of what you want it to do. It's going to create lift. And like you said, they've created these contraptions to try and get rid of the lift. Honestly, if you really think about it, I can't remember with somebody, I think there was a post on Reddit. Somebody mentioned that NASCAR actually has done a really great job. NASCAR is getting criticized. There's criticism about these cars getting airborne because they continue to get airborne. But if you really look at the airborne wrecks we've had, NASCAR has done a spectacular job of keeping cars on the track, because if you factor out contact, if these cars don't get hit, they don't go airborne.
Yeah.
It's either they get hit or they have some sort of side damage, i.e. Kyle Larson, Matt Kenseth, when they flipped, that gets the air underneath them. But otherwise, they have to get hit to go airborne. And I'm sorry, when you've got a car that's glued to the track, there's no ride height rule. These things are practically dragging the racetrack. When they get hit and you create a little bit of air underneath, they're going to lift. And
and you're going as fast as they're going, and you got to remember you've got four basketballs under there too. When it's not like you're, it's not like you're driving on cement blocks. You've got air-filled tires. There's not a whole lot holding you to the track at that point.
You're never gonna. I mean, we wrecked a car last year in the Xfinity Series at Kansas, which we're going to Kansas this weekend. That flipped. You go to a short track where they're on dirt or asphalt that they don't hit 100 miles an hour and they flip. You're not going to keep the cars on the ground all the time. Yes, it's scary when they get airborne. And I think NASCAR needs to continue doing what they're doing and continue trying to keep them on the ground. This is tough for me, James, because I've openly said before, I like the wrecks. I think it's exciting when one of these things goes airborne, but I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
No.
So it scares me too, and I mean that's part of the thrill of it too, and all that. I
That's
mean,
part of racing. Yeah.
but don't get me wrong. I go into this race going, okay, who's flipping this race, and
Yeah. I mean, how harrowing was that video from Bubba Wallace's helmet cam? By the way,
dude,
just incredible.
That you and Todd were talking about debating whether that helmet cam or the Kurt Busch helmet cam at Indy was the best helmet cam, and there's no debate, man. That helmet cam was the most amazing helmet cam footage you will ever see.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Bubba's response in the car that he needed a change of clothes was excellent.
Yeah.
But again, you're just not going to keep these things on the ground. Thankfully, it stayed out of the catch fence. That scares me the most. I don't want to see a car hit the fence because bad things happen when cars hit fences.
Well, look at Brad at Daytona. That car hit the fence and that was a fireball.
Yeah.
That was scary.
But, NASCAR's done a great job. I don't blame Joey for being scared about. I mean, shoot, Joey. I mean,
he's one of the best here.
He's a tall dude, and they need to keep working on the safety. And we've got a new car coming next year that hopefully will help that as well. More than we've already done.
Joey made a good point this morning. He was on with Bagley and Pistol Pete, and
I wanted to listen to that.
Said, I guess the one-liner that I took away from it was, it's easy to say that, the new car's coming, we don't have to touch this car.
Right.
His argument was, well, we have 2 races left.
Yep.
And we'd hate to lose one of our competitors. With what we have here. So, good points by him.
We've gone 20 years without losing a driver in the series. We can't get complacent.
Yep. I mean, hell, man, Ryan Newman got hit in the helmet with a race car and was lived to tell the tale. And honestly, Eric, because of Ryan Newman and his many flips and crashes, it's probably what kept Joey safe as well. I mean, that's all
Ryan Newman's many flips and crashes are what kept Ryan Newman alive.
Yeah, it saved his life, and everything that NASCAR has learned, and when these cars do flip, I mean, Joey had a scary situation, but it's not for lack of effort that NASCAR R&D has kept him safe and kept all the drivers safe. So you can't really, I understand, like, if something happened to me, I mean, this weekend I was walking my kids across the street and, a car revved up because apparently we took too long getting across the road. And, I totally screamed at them.
Right.
Which, I mean, so you can imagine me in a flipping race car, probably needing to scream at somebody. So, and I mean, that's like, I can only imagine his reaction being in the seat. So I understand where you're coming from, Joey, a little bit, I guess.
My biggest thing
I get being angry.
I don't want NASCAR to make a knee-jerk reaction. I love this aero package. I think it's fun to watch. I like the fact that generally, even when they get single file, a few cars can get together and get rid of that. I think it's a pretty good package. I think it's exciting because you can't just lock down the lead. You can't jump back and forth between the lines.
Package.
What's that?
Remember the bubble package?
Yeah.
That they had. You would just kind of block and block. That's when Brad was probably at his peak. Was the bubble.
But I do agree that they need to keep working on it. And do something and don't be complacent. Don't just stay the course. But don't make a ridiculous overreaction. I think the biggest solution here, honestly, is just they just need to slow them down. They're too fast still. They don't need to go down much. But again, put the ride height rule back in. Don't let them lock them to the ground, and that'll change things up because now you don't have that little sliver where air can get underneath, and suddenly it goes airborne. So I don't know. I mean, I'm no expert. It's hard for me to sit here and say this is what they should do, what they shouldn't do.
The old ride height is always a point of contention. Anywhere we go, ride height.
Yeah, I don't
lock them up.
I mean, I like the fact that we don't have it anymore, but I also, feel like that causes issues. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the solution, James.
I don't know either. I don't want to fix NASCAR again.
Yeah. Speaking of Kyle Larson finishes dead last and 40th. With an engine.
That was weird, huh?
Yeah, so one of those issues without having practice. They left a part in the car that's designed to essentially, it sounds like from the broadcast, it's designed to allow them to heat the motor up quicker. And they didn't take it out before the race started, and boom.
Started his engine and the race was over.
Yep. Man.
That was it. Can you imagine?
He even got beat by the Fox Nation Chevrolet.
He did.
Who finished 22nd, by the way, Corey LaJoie.
Nation.
Yeah. Harrison Burton looked decent throughout the day, finished 20th.
Yeah, he had a shot at top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looked great.
As with any
for the Burton boys.
As with any super speedway race, it's fun to look up at the front and see who is up there. Michael McDowell, again, another strong performance, finishes third.
Oh man, I thought he could have done it.
He was close, man. One move different, and he would have won that race.
I know. And if he would have been the second 2-time winner of the season, what a story that would have been.
Yep.
So cool. That team, and he's not last in the winners of if we're gonna run out of winners here,
right?
For the playoffs, he's not last right now. So
he just needs like 6 or 7 more super speedway races. He'd be good to go.
I know he's got at least one more on the calendar, so he could still steal another one. But that was cool. I mean, it just goes to show you that this guy is great at this.
Yeah,
he is great at these tracks. You can only imagine what he could do with a real piece under him all the time. But fantastic run from Michael McDowell. I was rooting for him.
Well, and one thing to keep in mind too, and they touched on this in the Fox broadcast, is that not only did he do well in this car, but this isn't the car that won Daytona, because they don't get to keep that car.
Yeah, I know that car's in the museum right now.
Yeah.
So.
We mentioned Matt DiBenedetto. He finishes 5th. Kaz Grala finishes 6th.
Yeah, 3 starts, 2 top 10s in his Cup career. Colleague Racing, I tell you what. I can't remember how many starts they have this year, but this is another top 10 for them. They had AJ Allmendinger at the road course too, so that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I like that.
Tyler Reddick was 1 move away from winning this thing, finishes 7th. Austin Dillon finishes right behind him in 8th. Both those guys, you expect the RCR cars to be good at a restrictor plate race.
Yeah, they're solid. Just solid. Blaney was was solid all day
there again. Anthony Alfredo, 12th place finish.
Yeah, can we shout out Eric Jones? He was, I know he crashed on the last lap or coming to the last lap, but man, I was like, he was leading that thing.
Yeah.
I was really, and that was a great looking race car, by the way.
Yeah, it was. That was a sweet, that car would have looked really good in victory lane.
Oh, dude, I wanted to see Eric Jones sneak a win. That would have been so great, because he's not going to have many of those opportunities. So
nothing against Bubba Wallace, but it would be kind of fun to see Eric Jones win before Bubba Wallace in Bubba's old car.
Yeah. It would be a great stick it to Joe Gibbs Racing moment too, if he could find a way to win with that car.
Definitely.
So yeah, I was pulling for him. That's the guy I wanted to see win the race.
Yeah.
Was Eric Jones. Yeah, I was like, come on, man, you can do this. And unfortunately, it didn't go his way, and that's fine. But still, good run. Great run to see the 43 up front.
Ryan Preece ends up 14th, but he was much better than that coming to the white. Just ended up picking wrong lines and ended up 14th. Let's see. Anybody else worth mentioning? Everybody else up front kind of. Ross Chastain took a heck of a hit there at the end.
He did.
Coming to the checkers. But
he had a pretty good run going all day. He was up there for quite a bit.
He was causing some issues. I mean, he was in some trouble.
That's what he does.
But I did want to point out, James. So
Chip Ganassi was good.
Last week, Jennifer Jo Cobb caused 3 wrecks in 3 cautions in the Truck Series race at Richmond Raceway, which NASCAR says did not cost her the start at Daytona or at Talladega in the Cup Series. But we can argue that it might have. I just want to note, and this is nothing against him, but I'm pretty sure Denny Hamlin caused 3 wrecks in this one. So
yeah, probably.
Just saying.
Yeah.
J-Joe couldn't race, but old Denny.
That's the Cody Ware Hall of Fame right there, boy.
Right? Nothing against Denny. I mean, he's doing what he's got to do.
Yeah, Denny's doing racing for different. He's doing different things up there.
Yeah,
than Joe did.
If he wouldn't have been in that wreck at the end of stage 2, which for the record, the only reason I think I won fantasy is because there was enough of a lag coming to the checkers before they locked down the grid that I could bump Denny over to the bench because I had Denny. When he hit that wall, so I logged into that app so freaking fast and booted him to the bench. So Denny, I think Denny was the guy to beat, I think, if it wouldn't have been for that wreck. Yeah.
I tried to sub Eric Almirola Ryan Blaney for Eric Almirola. Yeah. Like as they were coming to the stage 2, and I missed it. So I was like, well, I guess I saved a Ryan Blaney start and kept Eric Almirola in there. But Eric, I caught myself screaming at Quinn Houff again.
Yeah.
During the race, just because he always finds himself in my ire. He's all over the place. I mean, geez,
I don't think
that guy.
I don't think he it's only your ire that he finds himself in. Just for the
Yeah,
record.
man, that guy. All the Hendrick cars took a spin through the grass, I think, at one point during this race.
Oh yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I don't think there was a better move than Chase Elliott going pretty much 150 miles an hour backwards down the front stretch and not wrecking doing it.
I know he got a nice little gaff in the side of his car, but that was some slick driving.
So Ricky Bobby / Cole Trickle esque that.
Yeah, it was.
It was awesome.
He saved that. He saved the front of the car. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Holy cow.
Anything else with this one? I feel like I'm missing something here, James. It's Talladega, man. There's so much stuff that happens here.
It's fun. Yeah. I mean, Bubba did win a stage.
Yeah.
Which was cool. And yeah, Benedetto won a stage. So I mean, those points are valuable for those guys. For the most part. I mean, just trying to, it's been a long season for Bubba. So, to nab 10 stage points and a playoff point, that could come in handy someday. I don't know if he's going to win it at this point in the season, but same for Benedetto. I mean, he's been doing a very good job of climbing back through the points. He had a really bad start to the season. So it's good to see, when Hamlin got a little screwed up there, it kind of opened up. I feel like that opened up the race a little bit. And, and definitely gave some guys a chance that we may not have thought of.
Yeah,
as well.
I agree.
So
35th victory of the future Hall of Famer Brad Keselowski's career and 423 Cup Series starts. First victory of 2021, and James, you know what that means? 9 winners in 10 races.
9 of 10, yes. So, Eric, I had a question. I'm so glad you said that because I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Is Brad Keselowski the most underappreciated driver in the Cup Series? Like of all time?
I would
maybe not of all time. He's underappreciated, is he not?
So yes.
Properly?
No, he's definitely underappreciated. Maybe more so because he has a title and he's still underappreciated. But I think Denny Hamlin's going to fall in that same category, especially if he doesn't win a championship.
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin's going to be very underappreciated for what he's accomplished in his NASCAR career. But yeah, Brad, for winning a championship, for having a title and being as underappreciated as Brad Keselowski is, yes, I 100% agree. He's probably the most.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's completely underappreciated.
And like I said, he's a future Hall of Famer. There's no way he doesn't get in the Hall of Fame. He's got a championship.
Oh yeah, he's got
35 wins. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's one of the greats, man.
Yeah.
There's not many drivers that you can just pencil in. This guy's going to get you 22 top 10s this season. He's going to win you a handful of races, and he's going to get you through a few rounds of the playoffs. And Brad's going to do that for you every single year. He's going to be sniffing around, trying to win a champ.
He'll probably, he'll get that second championship next year when he's racing for 2311, right?
Right.
When he's one of the 7 drivers racing for 2311.
That's right.
The thing with Brad for us, I think, is we have a skewed view of Brad because Brad really isn't a well-liked driver in NASCAR, but being from Michigan, he's well-liked here.
That's right.
So he is appreciated in Michigan. But
he's one of our guys.
Dude,
he's one of our dudes.
Going to Eldora and seeing them, of course, it's Ohio, and Ohio hates Michigan, of course, and rightfully so because Ohio sucks. But to see the boos or hear the boos that Brad Keselowski got at Eldora was pretty shocking because I'm used to Michigan and he gets cheered at Michigan.
Yeah, he's one of our guys, man. So I understand that. Like Eric Jones, obviously one of our guys. So I agree. There's some skewing going on there, but I mean, gosh, guy's got 35 career wins. He's got an Xfinity title. He's got all these things. So I just think he's underappreciated. I just think I think he's one of the greats, honestly.
Before we leave this race, one other thing I wanted to mention, just because we talked about like everybody up front. William Byron got second.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, I don't think anybody. I didn't even realize William Byron got second, but he got second in this race.
He's pretty good in the speedway races, man.
Yeah,
he's making it happen. He won Daytona last year. He's good.
Yeah,
he's good. So we'll see him again at Daytona up front.
Yeah, definitely.
Heck, we might see him up front this week. He's been pretty solid all year.
Yeah, we could. Let's talk about Xfinity real quick. Not a whole lot to talk about here. Decent race.
Lots of rain.
Yeah, decent race, but got called short because of the rain. Let me jump in here. How many laps did we get in? We got 90 laps in this thing of what were they supposed to run? Where the heck is it?
It was a 300 miler, so
yeah.
239.4
miles.
Yeah, they were 24 laps short.
Yeah, so basically right about the time that these races really start to pick up. But good on Jeb Burton getting the win. Junior Motorsports getting another win. Or no, not Junior Motorsports.
Colleague.
Sorry, there's colleague.
Yep.
Yeah, colleague.
Yep.
Something interesting for me on this one, and I haven't heard the story behind it, and I listen to Door Bumper Clear a lot. But Freddie Kraft is usually a spotter for Jeb Burton, but for some reason on the speedways or on the super speedways, Brett Griffin is spotter for him. So I thought that was interesting.
Experience, possibly.
Maybe.
Brett's been around a long time.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. But good for Brett to get the win. I have to listen to TVZ.
Oh man, good for Jeb.
Yeah,
because he's a journeyman.
Yeah,
you know, he's made some sacrifices to just stay in racing. I mean, he was a start and park and Cup for, for pretty much a whole rookie campaign in Cup was start and park, and then has floated around Xfinity. Wasn't sure if he was ever going to have full-time rides again. I mean, the starts per season for him, Eric, are like 6, 3, 7.
Yeah.
He hasn't been doing much, but he got a full-time shot with colleague, and I know it's a rain shortened race. I don't care. Like
no.
He won. He was in the right place.
He
right
was
time.
there. He led 21 laps in the race. I mean,
he was going to be there at the end. The colleague cars were great at Talladega.
Yeah.
I know he's got some decent history in the truck series, but that's really the gist of it for him. So I was really glad to see him finally get the job done.
Yeah, I agree.
It's huge.
Definitely. Who else did I want to talk about in this one?
Well, Austin Cindric was, gosh, dude.
Yeah,
he seems unbeatable in the Xfinity series.
He's
this year.
just, I mean, you want to talk about John Hunter Nemechek not fitting in the trucks. Yeah, overqualified for the truck series. And it's not Cindric's fault. Obviously, he'd rather be in Cup, I would assume. But I mean, he's overqualified for this series.
Well,
if he doesn't win the championship this year, come on, it's just a joke.
With no Chase Briscoe and there's a couple others. I mean, Harrison Burton, Noah Gragson. There's good talent there, but you're probably right. He's probably overqualified. Yeah. But he didn't go to Cup and come back, so that's all. I guess that's the big difference.
Right. Natalie Decker finished 24th. Nobody heard from her all day, so that was cool.
Yeah, until they listen to this podcast.
Right. Just looking at anything else worth mentioning. I don't think there's really much else here worth mentioning. It was
Ty Dillon's bad luck continues to.
Yeah, man, that's who I wanted to mention. Yeah, poor Ty.
He's always in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel for him, and the dude's a good driver. He just can't get any luck.
Can't get luck right now with that team. He's got a decent seat, just can't get any luck.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the end of his career, unfortunately, and it's too bad. I think he's going to be out of opportunities, and I think he's ready to give it up. We've
seen guys in dire straits before that have found a way to bounce back. He just needs to string something together.
If he could get a win, it would open some eyes.
Yeah, or just have a great run. Yeah. I don't know. Ross Chastain had a nice win that kind of vaulted him at one point, so I'm not giving up on Ty just yet, but he's got to get it done.
I hope so. I mean, I want to see it happen. So
Joey Gase ran a pair of really great race cars this weekend.
Yeah.
That Davey Allison scheme.
That was pretty awesome. That was awesome.
Oh, I loved it. Love to see the old 28 on the black and yellow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful race cars.
I agree. Might be better than a couple of throwback schemes announced today even.
Oh, there's some good ones.
There are some good ones. There's also some bad ones, Martin Truex.
There's very bad ones out there, yes. It's not hard. As I said in our group message, it is not that hard.
Right. Wanted to hit on the ARCA race real quick.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Derek Lancaster suffered burns and smoke inhalation during a wreck on Saturday. Just, something you just don't expect to happen very often. The car went up in flames pretty good, and he wasn't able to get out of the car very quickly either, but just massive fire and didn't seem to extinguish itself like it should have. Bob Hockhurst has been staying on it. He provided an update from Lancaster's wife, Beth. She notes, I'll just read the statement. This was earlier today, which is Tuesday as we're recording this. Again, I'm so appreciative of the prayers, love, and support that keep pouring in for Derek and I. He's still in critical but stable condition, but doctors are decreasing sedation as they wean him off the ventilator, and he's opening his eyes. He knows I'm here. I'll share another update tomorrow and keep you posted on his progress. Thank you again.
That's scary, man.
Yeah. I mean, the fireman is still as much stuff as we've done in this sport to make things safer, there's only so much you can do with fire.
That dang ARCA series is just always something going on in that series.
I do not like that series at Talladega. I'm sorry. I do not think that, and this isn't Derek's. I mean, Derek's, I think, been racing for a while. I've heard the name before.
Yeah.
It's not because of him. I just don't think some of these guys have what it takes to be on a big track like that. I know you got to get the experience somewhere, but man,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's tough to watch. Didn't a 62-year-old man finish second in the ARCA race?
Yeah, something like that.
I didn't check the stats.
Yeah, I don't have the results up. I don't even remember who won, to be quite honest.
The ARCA series. Oh
yeah.
Gosh.
But
yeah,
I think the ARCA series has really lost its luster since NASCAR purchased it. I don't think it has anything to do with that. They just were in the process of getting a new car and NASCAR purchasing it, and you need
to get the ARCA series back on short tracks only and be done with it.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, maybe a couple big tracks here and there, but not Daytona and Talladega. We don't need to race there anymore.
They can run them at Michigan, but don't run them.
Yeah, Michigan and
even Daytona. I'd be all right with Daytona. Daytona doesn't scare me like Talladega does.
Yeah, these cars are just inexperienced.
There's too much room at Talladega for them to get into trouble.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, anything else from Talladega before we move into the news, James?
No, sadly we leave Talladega in the dust.
Yeah.
For now, in a couple of more months.
Yeah, we'll be back in the fall.
In the playoffs.
Yes. Before we get into the fun stuff, sad news this week. Charlie Glotzback passed away this week. Name pretty synonymous with NASCAR. Ran in 124 Cup Series races from 1960 to 1992. He won 4 races and 12 poles. He also has 8 wins in the ARCA Series. That's where he competed part-time for many years. Charlie was also, I believe, was in the big throwback race that they ran at Bristol, which was horrible idea. And I believe he was involved in the wreck that hurt. I can't remember who got hurt.
Was it Len?
Yeah.
Lenny Parsons? I can't remember. Larry Parsons?
Larry Pierce?
Pierce, yes, there we go.
There you go.
Pearson.
Yeah.
Pearson. Yes. Thank you.
So, but yeah, Charlie Glotzback. I don't know why I know the name so well.
Oh, he was sponsored by one of our local, I guess one of our local companies here in Michigan. Eric, do you know the name of the company where he was sponsored by?
I have a clue.
If you think of it's a current NASCAR sponsor from Michigan.
Couldn't tell you.
Kind of big.
Couldn't tell you.
Dow Chemical.
Perhaps. Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, he won 2 races with Dow on the hood. Daytona and Michigan. He's got a Daytona win, but not the 500.
Okay.
He's got credit for winning a 50-lapper. Back in the day, in the 70s. But he's also won at Bristol too, so that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So obviously, we're in that era that we're losing historical figures from NASCAR, and it's sad. So thoughts and prayers with the family and all that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I honestly, I never got to see him race. I know he raced into the 90s in the ARCA series.
Yeah.
But he was got some really good numbers. I mean, he got a bunch of wins in the ARCA series, and like you said, Eric, he's got 4 wins in the Cup series. So that's pretty cool. I mean, he ran all the way up until 94 in the Cup series. So that's
you got to have respect for those guys that some of them make their careers in Cup, and but those guys that are the guys that just grind away for years.
They grind,
the Dave Marcuses, those guys that just race forever. That
Yeah, man. Cale Yarborough types, and even just there's so many names. It's hard to even pinpoint or pick any one guy. There's so many of them back in the day. They would just run 15, 20 races a year, and they were there for a long time. I mean, heck,
Bill Venturini.
One of the most famous ones. Yeah, one of the most famous ones is probably Dick Trickle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dick Trickle raced
legend.
everything.
Raced everything, and everywhere. Ken Schrader's like that.
Yep.
Lots of. I know Sports Center had their fun with Dick Trickle, but he was a heck of a racer.
Yeah.
We always made fun of him at the track, but he was a hell of a racer on the local circuit. Local legend. I think, isn't there he's got like this, I don't know how we got on this topic, but there's like a legend that he's won like 500 or some races. He raced that much in the local scene. I'd have to look that up, but
interesting.
Anyway, that's probably enough of that.
Yeah, probably. I'll save us, James.
James is spouting nonsense again. So
I mean,
there you go.
That's what the podcast is. I mean,
that's what we do.
Between you and me, one of us is going to be spouting some nonsense. I got some shocking news, James. You're going to be just floored by this news. You ready?
Yeah, let's have it. Yeah.
So the word came out today, I believe, or this week, that the Chicago street course that they're racing on iRacing is a test to test the waters for a real Chicago street course race. I know, right?
Really?
Nobody saw this coming.
Jeez, I wonder why they sent the whole iRacing, team out there to scan the track and make it happen.
We just so happened to basically close a track in Chicago, but still want to be in the market. I don't know. It just seems crazy. I would have never thought. Apparently that's the plan, which we already basically told this story once. But now Sports Business Journal is reporting it. Could happen as soon as next year, but likely 2023 or later. Just due to things that have to be ironed out. But
I'm sure there's plenty of city permits and things like that.
Yeah.
EA Sports was really the first one on this, Eric.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? You remember the EA Sports? It was like a downloadable track you could race the Chicago Pier.
I don't think so.
They've been working on this since NASCAR 09 back in the day. So
there you go.
Yep, it's been a long time coming.
I'm mixed because first of all, I really want to go back to Chicagoland Speedway, and I know it's never going to happen.
I know you're going to miss it, but it's not going to happen.
I want to because I'm not going to Chicago for a street race, but street race is fun to watch on TV. But I've been to Belle Isle for the Indy cars, and I'd do it again to go hang out with the family, but not to go watch a race because you just can't.
Well, you get to go hang out with Jimmy Johnson.
I know. I'm tempted to go this year, but I'm sure with COVID and all that, it's probably pretty locked down. So
yeah.
Otherwise, I'd go for sure. All right, we can move off from that one. Who cares? So I thought this was an interesting story, and James, I wanted to discuss it because I know your buddy Moody and Nick Bromberg were going back and forth a little bit on Twitter with it.
I know. I was hoping it would be better than it was,
but I think I'm leaning towards Bromberg on this one, which just irritates me that I've been agreeing with him lately. But so NASCAR plans to endorse but not require COVID vaccinations for competitors. But interestingly enough, they're going to start allowing VIPs and garage visitors at Darlington in a couple weeks, and they will need to be vaccinated. Isn't that a little bit of a double standard?
It is.
I mean, and then so Matt Weaver says that 90% of the IndyCar paddock is vaccinated. Roger Penske is encouraging but not requiring teams and drivers to be vaccinated in that series. But I mean,
I hope this fights NASCAR in the you-know-what.
So here's the thing for me. I guess maybe I'm not quite with Nick Bromberg on this because I really am not in favor of requiring people to be vaccinated. As much as I think it's crazy to not be vaccinated, and I'm totally not an anti-vax person, and dude, the second I got a chance to get the shot, I got the shot. I'm vaccinated. I've had my 2 shots. It's been 2 weeks. I am fully vaccinated, as they say, from COVID.
Free.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I don't want it to be required. But how do you require VIPs to then be vaccinated? I just don't get the standard.
Well, you want to open up your sport to everybody. You need to have some sort of precedence in place. I don't know. Moody said it's like going to a restaurant, and I don't know. I completely disagree with that. This is not
Moody. I love Moody, but he's such a kiss ass to NASCAR. Come on. And then as soon as NASCAR changes their opinion, he's going to change his too. And
I honestly, Eric, boy, this is gonna. If you're listening to this podcast and you don't like this comment, please don't hold it against me. Anti-vax people drive me up a freaking wall. Just get your shot and get the damn thing over with.
Right.
And I don't. If NASCAR would have said, we require all of our competitors and pit crew members to get the vax, I would have been all for that.
I wouldn't have been against
it,
but yeah. I also don't. I don't know. I
understand. I do understand that people have a choice.
Yeah.
And you should be allowed to get a vaccine or not get a vax, whatever you decide. As silly as I may think that might be, my own personal choice. I get that, but I don't know. I just feel like all these sports leagues are doing this kind of the same thing. I was reading today that the Lions, our favorite football team here in Michigan,
Speak for yourself, James.
they're having issues with players not wanting to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And it's personal choice. My issue is if you're deciding not to get vaccinated and you're going to be around all these people, you're then in turn you are then putting them in danger.
Yeah.
That's my belief on it, and so be it. So that's pretty much where I think NASCAR should mandate this. But
yeah, I agree. I'm not. Again, I don't feel like people should be required to be vaccinated. And I don't want to get into a big political debate.
Oh, I don't. Yeah,
I don't feel like people should be.
It's not a political thing for me. It's
right.
It's,
I don't feel like people should be required to be vaccinated. But damn it, you should go get vaccinated. You know, you shouldn't need to be required. You should just do it. Help us all get over this stupid COVID thing so we can be done and we can go back to freaking races and not have to wear a mask.
It's a human thing. Yeah. It's caring about your fellow man to me. That's where I come in. And
this story's tough for me because somebody's wrong and I haven't decided yet which side is yet.
Which is funny because NASCAR is one of the partners, like they're hosting vaccine events at their racetracks.
Right.
And they're doing commercials promoting getting vaccinated. So why can't you, I don't know, practice
yeah, but should we dig into some sponsorships that NASCAR has?
No, I don't want to do that. Fox Nation.
That are conflicts.
I don't want to do that.
Their political stances. So, I mean, I don't know.
Boy, Corey LaJoy for not being on board with that Trump sponsorship last year. Getting that Fox Nation one sure is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Tucker will be on the hood next week.
Yeah. This was not supposed to be political, dang it.
Right?
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
Right.
Get your shot.
All right. Next, James, we're going to talk about your favorite series.
My upcoming favorite series, yes.
SRX partnering with AMR for safety services at its races. That's it, James. This lends the credibility it needs. I'm back on board with SRX.
Oh, are you? Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But it's good. AMR provides a good service. They do the IndyCar and NASCAR. And good to see that they'll have good safety procedures at the SRX races.
Yeah, legitimizes exactly. Yeah, you want the best if you're going to be out there doing what these guys do.
Yeah.
And ladies.
Right.
So yeah, get the best. Be done with it.
I added this.
They know what they're doing.
I added this last one in the notes because I'm excited about it and I hope it's true. And if Bob Pocker says it's true, it's true.
My friend Bob.
Yeah, but James's buddy Bob. So Pocker tweeted out this week in response to some people, says practice and qualifying will likely return for most, if not all, races in 2022. We'd already kind of speculated about this with the new car that they're going to need some practice. They're going to need that type of stuff. I think NASCAR and the TV partners need it. I think at some point, I don't know when the TV contracts are up, but NASCAR is going to have to go to the TV groups and ask for more money. And they're not going to be able to do that with, a quarter of the programming that they used to have. So I think the writing's on the wall. We'll have practice and qualifying back. And I'm excited about that because as much as it's been interesting the last 2 years to not have it and see how it's changed races, and it certainly has, I miss it. And we talked about it last week. I want it back. So.
Yep. Yeah. And these TV partners have lots of airtime to fill on different places. So they're going to want it. So let's get it done.
Not only that, but now you got Peacock. I don't know does Fox have a streaming platform yet that you have to pay for?
There's a Fox. No, it's not.
It will though. It will. So
it's a weird streaming service.
I mean, if you look at IndyCar right now, a lot of the IndyCar stuff, if you want to watch practice and qualifying, you got to watch it on Peacock. And I think we're going to see the same thing with NASCAR when they go to it. And I'm, fine. Just don't make me pay a subscription to watch the race. I'll pay the subscription for the other stuff, and I'll buy every freaking subscription I need to buy. If NASCAR would just offer me a subscription package, I could just get all the NASCAR stuff. I would just pay it.
Yeah.
I paid for freaking Peacock this year for Supercross, so I'm one of those people. But yeah, so good to have it back at the track. It'll be fun when you go to the track to have that stuff going on. And like I said, you're gonna want the drivers there anyway. You want them with the VIPs, with the media, and you're not gonna have them there with nothing to do. So.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good with that, man. I want it all back.
Yeah.
I want normalcy of everything. I want my NASCAR racing to be normal too. So.
And I mean, I
Their
know a
stuff.
lot of people go down and go to the race on Sunday and go home, but I went down for the weekend, and it would really suck to not have stuff going on the weekend. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a bummer.
did I miss any news, James?
I was scrolling through the Twitters, and I think you're good, bud.
All
I think
right.
I think we nailed it all. There's more there than I thought.
Well, yeah, when I started this afternoon, there was like one thing, and then suddenly there were a couple other things, so it was good. Good to have some stuff to talk about. This
Absolutely.
weekend, we go to Kansas Speedway. Let me pull up the old results from last week just to let James rub it in how he did. James beat me 92-88, despite the fact that I picked the winner on Sunday. James picked the second place guy and got a lot of points on Saturday with Austin Cindric. Blaney did him well on Sunday to keep things going for him, and so James still leads 839 to 808, and with that I get to make the first pick again this week.
You do. Yes, you're back. Everything seems normal for me, so that's good.
Right? So we got Truck Series and Cup Series this weekend at Kansas. The trucks trucks have the Wise Power 200, and James, I'm going to go out on a limb here slightly. It's not much out on a limb. If you look at the average finishers, it might not come as a surprise, but if you don't, it will. And I am going to go with Austin Hill as my pick. He has a win here and has the best average finish here, and he's been there.
Yep.
And so I just want to go with somebody a little bit different this week, and I'm going Austin Hill.
Yeah, I can't take John Hunter Nemechek because I took him last time.
I should have taken him then. Damn it.
I know. He's open for you.
That's all right. I'll get to pick first again next week when you beat me again. So
I know. So I've been taking like the same guys all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try not to pick. I'm gonna try to pick somebody I haven't picked lately. So give me Mr. Chandler Smith.
Nice.
For this one.
I thought you were gonna go with Matt Crafton, who's got 3 wins here.
Yeah, well, he's part of it. Like I've picked Crafton and John Hunter Nemechek and Sheldon Creed quite a bit. So I'm gonna see if Chandler Smith can get the job done. He's got one career start here, but it is a top 5. So and a pole. So he's got a pole in the top 5. So I would like to see Mr. Chandler Smith get it done. If I can't have one KBM truck, I'll take the other.
That's a good pick, and that gives me hope with Austin Hill. So.
Yeah, Chandler Smith's good, man. He's good. He needs a breakthrough. So maybe this will be his chance.
I like Chandler. I guess if you beat me with that one, I would actually be happy with it. So.
Yeah.
And then the best race name of the season, the Cup race on Sunday, is the Bushy McBush Race 400 at Kansas Speedway.
The race we deserve.
James, I'm going to predict that we have 10 different winners in the first 11 races of the season. And I'm going to go with the guy who has been right there. It's going to happen. And I'm going Denny Hamlin.
Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted. Normally I would go like with a Harvick or something here, but I just don't. That team just, again, another top 5 again for him this week. He just keeps finding a way.
Yep.
But I'll mix it up just a little bit, and I will take. Man, this is tough. Got a couple of guys here. Denny Hamlin's such an outlier from recent races. He's been really good.
Do you want me to tell you who was my second choice?
I was leaning Truex, but I'm going to take Joey. I'm going to take Joey Logano.
Joey's a good pick. Truex was my second choice.
Yeah. I'm going to take Jolo. I know he's had a couple of issues here lately, though. I'm a little worried about that one, but I'll take Jolo to get the job done. We'll see how that goes for me.
Yeah. Let's talk fantasy, James. Fantasy League. I know I talk all season long about how much I love the Fantasy League. It is excellent. So glad that we do it. And there's no sarcasm at all in this because I am a giant fan. James, who won fantasy this week?
Eric.
Oh, you cut out. Did I lose you? Oh my God. James was going to announce that I won fantasy and I just lost him.
I better not have.
There you are. You're back.
You did. You won fantasy. My God. And it wasn't close. You kicked everybody's butt.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was Bench and Denny right there at the end of the stage 2.
You scored 238. Second place was 193. To just give you an example of how bad everybody else was.
Yeah, well, what did that do to the standings, James?
Well, let's get let me give you my top. Hold on.
Right.
I know you're excited.
I'm excited.
All right, so Eric wins Talladega. Then we have a tie for second. Shut Up Roger and Fast to the Grass. and then your boy came in 4th. So there you go. That's me. So we go to our overall standings, and Eric took a big leap towards the top, but not in the lead just yet. Ranger Runyon, our one of our past champions, he still leads, and he's got you by about 80 points still,
Yeah.
Eric. And then I am 3rd. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but you and I are in the top 3.
I know. Did everybody else just quit? Like, are they still making picks? Like,
they must have. Well, Raging Redneck had one of the worst weeks. I kind of feel for him a little bit. He dropped off the standings. He's still holding on in 5th. Fast to the Grass is 4th. So, Fast to the Grass keeps showing up here quite a bit. That's pretty cool. One of our newbies, and then our buddy Todd. We have a tie for 5th. There is 5th is Todd and Raging Redneck. So that's pretty cool. I'm trying to see if anybody else kind of stands out, but no, yeah, Talladega was hard on everybody. So
no, it wasn't.
Well, I mean, everybody except Eric. But yeah, it was rough. It was rough. I was leading the day at one point again. Didn't get the job done yet again. I still haven't won a race this year. So I'm kind of feeling like Denny Hamlin out there.
Just to be clear, I'm not trying to rub this in, but
oh Jesus.
So top 5 in this race, Brad Keselowski, I picked. Michael McDowell, I did not. I almost picked Michael McDowell, by the way. Matt DiBenedetto was 3rd. I picked him. Ryan Blaney, 2nd. Ryan Blaney, I picked. William Byron, I picked. And then Ryan Newman was my other pick, who did finish better than Denny Hamlin by a significant amount, but finished 17th in this one. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. There's no skill in this. I completely got lucky this week, but every once in a while, one time a year, this happens, and it did this week.
Yeah, that's so
makes
funny.
me look brilliant, but it's certainly
once
not
a year,
brilliant.
Eric gets a win, and we have to talk about it for 10 minutes.
Hey, now. All right, then let's talk about something else, James. You got any shout-outs for me this week?
Yeah, kind of a shout-out and upcoming deal for us. My buddy Derek Winter is going to actually join us for a show in a couple of weeks.
Nice. Who approved that?
Well, HR, I think.
Yeah.
Our HR department. But yeah, Derek's going to come on in between Dover and Coda. So in a couple of weeks, we got a couple of races in between just yet. But yeah, he hosts the Life in the Fans Lane podcast as well. So get a chance to get somebody else in here who actually maybe knows what they're talking about. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one out. I'm going to throw out a YouTube, one of the YouTubers that I follow, the Iceberg on YouTube, a lot of NASCAR content. And today he posted a video, which James will really like. It is called Where Did We Finish? The NASCAR Race the Winner Didn't Know He Won. This is 2006 at Kansas Speedway, the Banquet 400. James, do you know who won this race?
Was that the Greg Biffle, whatever he was doing?
Nope.
No. Remember that finish? Greg Biffle limped it to the line?
Why would I ask you if you remembered who won this race? You, of all people.
Did Tony Stewart win this race?
Tony Stewart won this race, running out of fuel on the backstretch.
Oh, that's right.
This was a fuel mileage race at the end.
I remember this now, yes.
Yeah, so he ran out of fuel on the backstretch, came across the line, and asked, "Where'd we finish?" He said, "You won." And he coasted back around.
Great.
And yeah, so Iceman does a good job with some of these stories of races long forgotten and whatnot. He's got one that he posted 5 days ago, the most competitive race in NASCAR history, which I believe was a Talladega race, potentially. Maybe Daytona, because I'm looking at... No, it's Talladega. Anyway, so leading up to the race each week, he's got something that's
pretty cool.
memory. And so thought it was cool. Figured it was worth the shout out this week.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That's
I had
the
the
video game finish.
If I had the audio of Tony Stewart saying "Where'd we finish?" that would have been the intro today. But he didn't.
That's
have
really
audio.
good. Yeah, I remember that one, and that's like I said, that's like a video game finish where you know you're gonna run out of gas, but you got a huge lead.
Yeah,
like you never see that happen in real life. I do remember that.
That was Tony Stewart's first fuel mileage victory too.
Well, yeah, and he didn't do that great of a job because he was out. Right. There was the Greg Biffle one I referenced. I stumbled on yesterday or today. He didn't cross the line first. It was under caution.
Okay.
And he was like limping it in, and he was like 7th in line, and they gave him the win. It was really weird.
Yes.
Like he was going super slow down the front stretch. So that's why I was wondering if that was the one.
Gotcha.
Apparently not.
All right. Anything else, James? Did we miss anything?
No, man, I think we're good, bud. I think we are gold.
Kansas Speedway this weekend. This is a track
Big
that,
wrecks.
it's a track that's really sucked over the years, but it's kind of come into its own, like a lot of these tracks have as they've aged. Now a track with lots of grooves, can run from the apron to the wall, and it's put on some good shows recently. Truck race should be good, and who's going to be the big wreck this week? Because it tends to have at least one every week.
It does. Yes, it does.
So
treacherous track.
James, if people want to chat with you on social media during the week, how do they do that?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast, show notes, links to articles we discussed, and all the episodes, old race coverage, photos, all that stuff. You can check it out there. Again, thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. James, I think maybe we should start a premium podcast now that Apple and Spotify are going premium.
Maybe.
Think we should do that?
I wonder how many. I mean, we'd probably have the same listenership, so it wouldn't hurt us.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah.
So, no, we won't go premium, guys. We're gonna keep it free for y'all. But you can find the podcast there. I've been talking about Patreon for a while. I'm scrapping Patreon, guys. I appreciate the people who've supported us, the people who continue to support us. I appreciate it. But I'm done. I'm tired of taking your money. So we're gonna scrap Patreon. So if you see the link in the notes and all that, you can just ignore that. And thanks to everybody who supported us along the way. If you want to support us, just subscribe, tweet us, comment. Give us a comment on iTunes or whatever. I don't know if you can comment on the other different ones, but comment somewhere and just show your appreciation. And if you give us a retweet on Twitter, that'd be awesome. We'd appreciate it. With that, we go to Kansas Speedway this weekend. Truck Series, Cup Series, the Bushy McBush Race 400. I can't wait to hear Mike Joy say that. It'll be great. So we'll be back next week to discuss Kansas, break it all down, and until then, everybody, let's go racing.